Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a timeless story from ancient China, a parable that really gets at one of the most fundamental questions about how we experience life itself.
So let's explore that very question through the story of a man named Wang Fugui. This was a guy who had literally everything you could possibly want, except, a single moment of peace. All right, so our story starts with Wang Fugui, and his name, get this, it literally translates to rich and noble. And boy, did he live up to it. He was a legendary silk merchant, a total giant in the business back in his day. But here's the thing. For all his incredible wealth, Fugui was absolutely miserable. He wasn't worried about becoming poor, no. He was terrified of losing what he already had. Every shadow, to him, held a potential thief. Every whisper was a conspiracy to ruin him. His fortune had become his prison. So completely desperate for just one good night's sleep, he makes this journey to the legendary Qingfeng Inn, which means Clear Wind Inn. And there he meets the owner, a Zen master named Miao Wu, who's wearing this robe covered in cat patterns. First thing Fugui does, he asks for the single, safest, most secure room in the entire inn. And this is where things get really interesting. The master offers him a choice, but it's not really a choice. It's a test, disguised as two rooms, Room A and Room B. He says they're identical on the outside, but inside, well, their secrets are worlds apart. But, of course, there's a catch. A really strange one. To get to spend a night in the Room of 10,000 Blessings, he first has to spend one full night in Room B, the one that supposedly hides the 5 poisons. So Fugui, probably thinking, what have I gotten myself into, reluctantly agrees and steps into Room B. And at first, it seems totally fine. It's simple, it's clean, it's ordinary. But then the master's words, 5 poisons, start echoing in his head, and his mind just starts running wild. His mind picks up what you could call the paintbrush of fear, and it just starts painting over reality. That simple wooden bed? Nope. Now it's a pit of venomous snakes ready to strike. The clean water in the kettle? It looks like some kind of bubbling poisonous potion. It's wild, right? How a single worry can repaint our entire world. For Fugui, even the natural patterns in the wood grain on the walls warped into countless menacing faces, all spying on him. He survives the night, but just barely. He stumbles out the next morning, a total wreck, cowering and sleepless. And the master just calmly explains that the snakes and ghosts, they were never in the room. They were projections of Fugui's own inner poisons, his greed, his anger, his ignorance, his arrogance, and his doubt. So even though he's wiped out, he's thinking, okay, the bad part's over. Now for the good stuff. He's convinced that the treasure and the peace he's been craving have got to be in Room A. He happily pays 3 times the price and walks into the identical room. But this time, he's holding a completely different paintbrush, the brush of greed. Now, he's totally convinced that the phrase 10,000 blessings is some kind of clue to hidden treasure. So he starts painting again. The ordinary wooden table suddenly seems impossibly heavy. It must be filled with gold. That simple oil lamp? It has to be holding a priceless, glowing pearl. So he spends another sleepless night, not shaking in fear, but frantically tearing the room apart, searching for riches that just aren't there. It just goes to show you, an obsession with what could be is just as draining as a fear of what might happen. So the next morning rolls around. He confronts the master again, and he's just as exhausted as the day before, but this time it's from this manic excitement and total frustration, not from fear. He storms up to the master, and he's like, I'm exhausted. The treasure was everywhere, but I couldn't get my hands on it. He felt completely deprived, even though he was promised blessings. And this is the moment, right? This brings us to the big question. What was really going on in those rooms? And you can almost see the gears turning in Fugui's head as he finally asks the million-dollar question. Was there any difference at all? The master just smiled, because the true nature of the inn was about to be revealed. And the answer was absolutely nothing. The rooms were perfect mirror images of each other. The physical reality, the external world around him had never, ever changed at all. And this just drives the whole lesson home, doesn't it? Every single item was identical. The snake pit from the first night and the treasure vault from the second, they only ever existed in one place, right inside Wang Fugui's head. So at this moment of, total revelation, the Zen master finally shares the wisdom that unlocks the entire story. It's a famous verse that gets right to the heart of everything. Wow, that is such a powerful idea, isn't it? The world we experience isn't some fixed objective thing out there. It's a canvas. And the artist holding the brush, choosing all the colors and painting the entire scene, well, that's our own inner state. So the master basically breaks it down for him. Your search for safety or wealth out there, it was pointless. The source of his torment and his imagined treasures was inside him the entire time. The room didn't change. What changed was the paintbrush he chose to use, fear or greed. And let's be honest, we all hold a brush like that, every single day. So Fugi gets it. He finally understands that he's been a prisoner of his own mental paintings his entire life. So he asks the master the final and maybe the most important question of all. How do I put the brush down? And the master's advice is, well, it's pretty profound. He says the goal isn't to stop the mind from painting. That's just what minds do. The goal is to stop believing that every single painting is real. He tells Fugui, go back one more time, but this time your only intention is to see what's actually there, without adding a single thing to it. And that's exactly what he does. He goes back, he sits quietly, he just lets go of the stories about snakes and gold. And for the very first time, he sees things as they actually are. A bed is just a place to rest. Water is just something to drink. And the room, which had been a hellscape and then a tantalizing mirage, finally became what it had always been, a simple, peaceful sanctuary. That night, Fugui had the best sleep of his life. He finally understood that the greatest treasure, the most secure vault he could ever own, was a calm and a clear mind. And that clarity didn't just bring him peace. It actually made him a better, more focused merchant. So, this ancient story leaves us with a pretty big question for our own lives, doesn't it? As you go about your day, take a look at the world around you. What is the paintbrush of your mind currently painting? Is it fear? Is it greed? Or can you, like Fugi, maybe learn to just let go of the painting a little and see the room for what it is? Thanks for watching.